we're going to start over and try again. So, in the middle of me trying to make a video, my dog had a little barking fit because he saw a kitty outside. So, it was a little disruptive. So, now I'm starting over. What I was trying to discuss, and we will get into it, is Etsy and what I think of Etsy, how it's going, that sort of thing. Now, disclaimer right up front, Etsy's maybe not doing so hot for me because I didn't put in the effort that I should have been putting in. But I work full time and I also have been very, very busy. So I have had this period of time where I didn't have time for concerning myself with Etsy, and then I had some commission projects. So my crochet was basically some commission projects plus making a baby blanket for my coming grandbaby. So I wasn't posting to Etsy and I wasn't posting much on YouTube or Facebook, which I have a Facebook page now for my crochet. I'll put that link in the description box when I upload this video. So anyway, as for Etsy, I started Etsy back in September. The fee to get started is roughly $30, and then there's a listing fee. It's like 20 cents per item that you post, and the item is listed for 4 months, I believe. So I've only sold 2 items directly on Etsy, but those 2 items were priced in a way that I did cover my annual fee. I have since lowered my prices on Etsy because my pricing, people around the Midwest are not going to want to pay the prices. Actually, people in general just don't want to pay for handmade items. That's why if you think you're going to make money crocheting, it's going to be way more work than what you expect. The ones who are making money, they are making money on their crochet so much. I mean, they kind of are. I've looked at the pricing of some of the influencers that are selling because I'll go to their website. I check their websites. I like to see what's going on. And they price way higher than I would, but their items sell out. Well, it's because they have such a huge following. So most of their money is made actually on social media platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. I don't know what some of the others are, but basically most of what they're doing is social media, and that's where the majority of their money comes from. Because most people can't make a living with crochet. You can have a nice little side gig if you have a big enough customer base, but you're not going to make a living doing crochet. For me, my thinking, I work a full-time job, so for me, crochet, what I post and sell, it's not I'm trying to make a living. I would like to cover the cost of my yarn, maybe make my hobby pay for itself. That would be what I would want to do with my crochet hobby, is basically just get back what I'm putting into it. So I'm not looking to make money, make a living at it, because I have a full-time job. Now let's see, how many rows do I have done here? I'm working on a dishcloth. So for me, the Etsy shop is going to stay open as long as I am making enough money to cover the fees and the cost of my yarn. That's all I will use the Etsy shop for. It's not about making money. So I did lower my prices because I had priced a little bit higher. Lower than what I see other people pricing their items for sure, but it was high enough that I would make a little money. So I did lower my pricing. Now, I didn't lower too low because my shipping is too low. I shipped some items this last week and I realized that shipping costs have gone up and that I potentially could lose money on my Etsy shop just because of the cost of shipping items. So I am having to do a little adjusting on my pricing. I want my prices to be low, but don't want them to be so low that I'm throwing money away to run an Etsy shop. Now I've only sold since September. I've only sold 2 items on Etsy, but I had some commission work outside of Etsy. So that kind of makes up, how many rows do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so 14 rows of my texture. So now I'm going to do a row of single crochet and then this dishcloth is done. So my goal right now is to build up a little bit of inventory and get some more items posted to my Etsy shop, because I know that I have a pitifully small amount of stuff posted to Etsy. I had a goal to get a certain number of large market bags, a certain number of smalls, then I was going to make mediums. I haven't even posted a single medium bag. And then I wanted a wide range of colors and styles on dishcloths, and I'm working on textured ones right now. I really love the textured ones. Really love them. I have a few that are a shell stitch, I think is what it was called. I can't remember the name of the pattern because the pattern book, got burned up in a fire. So I don't remember the name of the pattern, but I know how to do the pattern off the top of my head. So I can still make those. But I have some shell stitch is what I think they're called that are posted, and I've only got 2 or 3 colors. It's actually kind of pitiful. So right now I'm working on textured dishcloths, and I've posted some green and white. It's called Limeade, the color is, and now I'm working on some brown. I've got a couple other colors that I need to get photographed and posted. So I will shortly, before the weekend is over, I will have more colors of dishcloths posted to Etsy. Now I am going to keep my pricing fairly low. With these dishcloths, the cost of making the dishcloth, the cost of the materials, it ranges anywhere from a little over $1 if I use the Walmart cones of cotton, but it could also be $5 for the cost of the yarn. So I am going to price, and then there's the range in between, depending on where I bought the yarn and what I paid for it. Now, if I was to say only post dishcloths that were, if I was to only post dishcloths that I made with the Walmart cones of yarn, the colors would be extremely limited. So I want a wide range of colors. So there will be dishcloths where I make money off them, and there will be dishcloths where I do not make money, or I even lose money, depending on the colors that I post. So if you see in the description that I made it with peaches and cream, I'm going to make money off that one. If I make it with lily sugar and cream, I'm not making money off that dishcloth. Loops and threads, I'm making a little bit of money, very little. And then I'm losing money on shipping unless I increase my shipping costs. But right now what I have posted is a flat rate $5, and I just shipped some dishcloths and it cost me more than that to ship. So my pricing will need to stay slightly above what, in order for me to not increase shipping costs, I have to keep my pricing a little bit higher, because I'd like to come out even. I'd like to come out where I get back the money on the yarn. I don't necessarily need the money for the time put into it, because it's my hobby. I like crocheting. So I did lower prices on Etsy. So if you have not been on my Etsy shop, go check out my Etsy shop. My pricing is all lower than it was. and I will be going with the lower prices going forward. I am in the Midwest. Uh, Depending on where you live, also has some. I hear some of the prices that people are selling their stuff for, and it's just not realistic for my area. So what I post will have to be reflective of the area. But I also recognize that I'm not looking to make a living at this. I know that there are people who are. There are people who need money who are trying to sell crochet items. A big problem with the crochet world is that it's oversaturated. We have got way too many people who want to crochet and then think that they're going to make a living. I thought that crocheting and knitting were hobbies that were basically going to almost disappear. But and this is super wonderful. The younger generations are showing an interest in crocheting and knitting. It's amazing. The problem is that there's so many of them that think that they're going to make a living crocheting and knitting. They need to talk to those of us who are older, and we can tell them you're not going to make a living doing this. You can try. It's wonderful, and you can make maybe a few extra bucks here and there, but you're not going to make a living crocheting because most people don't want to buy hand crocheted items. They would rather go to a store and buy something made in a sweatshop in China or somewhere else in Asia. Who knows? They would rather buy items that are made in sweatshops because they're going to get something for really, really cheap. This is why Americans cannot compete. We can't compete on the global market, but even worse, we can't even compete in America because our markets have been so flooded with cheap goods from overseas. And I remember when I was in my 20s, and I had this college professor, and we were talking about this stuff, and he was in the don't shop at Walmart camp because Walmart was pulling goods from Asia, mostly China. If you go to Walmart, once upon a time, Walmart really, really pushed American made items. But Walmart doesn't even care anymore. Walmart is just getting whatever cheap garbage they can get that's made in sweatshops overseas, and that's what they're selling. Mass produced in a factory. So it's hard for Americans to actually compete with items that they make by hand. And even when it comes to, and this is the most absurd example that I can come up with. Women will spend thousands of dollars on a bag or a pair of shoes with some big name brand that is made in another country in a sweatshop. They will pay an outrageous amount of money just for this name brand, but they will not pay way less and a reason yet still a reasonable amount for items purchased that are made in America by Americans. That one's always blown my mind a little bit. I'm one who will pay more. I'll pay more to get something that is made in America, as much as I can. I would prefer that over made in China. I shop, for example, I was looking for a basket, a specific size basket. I didn't get on Amazon. I didn't go to Walmart. There's this website called Layman's, and what they have is a lot of tools and stuff that the Amish use. I love Layman's. They have baskets that are handmade by the Amish. Beautiful baskets, amazing baskets. Expensive, yes, but I wanted a basket that was made in America by Americans. So I paid more money and I got the basket. And that's more of what we need. We need to own less stuff and purchase quality made in America items. But that's just my soapbox. That's a soapbox I get on when it comes to making and creating. I like to go on Etsy. There are times where I'll go on Etsy and I'm looking for a specific item, or I want something that's custom made, and I'll look at the Etsy shops, and what I'm looking for is specifically American. If I go on there and it's something that comes from another country, then I'm probably not going to buy it. Oh, if I can't find anything comparable in America, yeah, sure, I'll buy it. Like, I get sweaters that are made in Ireland. I love the Erin Sweater Market and the Irish store. Great places to buy sweaters. But on Etsy, when I'm looking for something that is customized, I usually will select an American shop over one from another country as much as I can. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my soapbox about how Americans cannot compete. It's been something I've been complaining about for years, ever since I had this college professor. I was young. I didn't think about that stuff when I was in my 20s. I had a baby and a toddler, and I was raising kids, and we were super poor, and it was this college professor. He educated me on there are still slaves in other parts of the world, because people like to make this big, huge, hairy deal about the amount of time, because there were slaves in America for a while. But if you look all throughout history, there have been slaves all over the world, and the American and British peoples abolished slavery. But there are still countries that still have slaves to this day. And that's just it's just wrong. It shouldn't be. But that's a totally different soapbox. And why am I talking about that? This is supposed to be a crochet video. So anyway, thank you for tuning in and listening to my little bit of a chat about Etsy, and then my soapboxes at the end about how we should be buying American made items. So have a wonderful day.